Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, and welcome to Nerd Tube's mass debate on What If Episode 7. What if Thor was a lonely child? I'm
Only
here.
child.
Only child, lonely child. Yeah, sorry, my bad. I put lonely child in my TikTok review. Nevertheless, I'm here with Captain Party Pooper, also known as Gare, also known as Bossman. How you doing, my son?
I'm all right.
And we also have Mr. Burrito himself, Cousin Cheeto. How you doing, my son?
All right.
Very good, very good. So let's just get on with you, Cheeto, because you've got thoughts. Thoughts. This is amazing.
Can I go first?
All right, fine.
No,
all
actually,
right,
no.
but
So I want to hear Cheetah's thoughts.
All right, fine, Cheeto.
Wait,
Cheeto.
okay, who's going first? Wait.
Cheeto, you're going to go first. You're going to go
You want
first.
me to go first?
Give me your thoughts, mate, because you've had thoughts and I'm dying to listen to them. So give it to me, baby.
Fucking episode. I swear to goddamn shit. All right, so look. Why do we have Party Thor? Because Loki's not around? What the actual fuck? Like, it makes no sense whatsoever. At least with the Star-Lord episode, it was very different, okay, but at least it had a sensible reason. The Yondu's idiot henchmen grabbed the wrong kid, and they just kept him. I mean, okay, makes sense. Loki's not around, so now it's Party Thor. What? Like, what? Now, I could see if, like, this episode was called, like, what if Thor hung out with the Grand Master, or Thor grew up with the Grand Master, or something like that, and him being Party Thor. There were a lot of great moments in this episode. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this, I didn't smile in moments, but it always came back to that stupid ass what if has to have a something that makes sense, a change that makes sense that turns it into something else. This had none of. They're just like, hey, let's just lean into the bro of Thor and just make him a party animal. Okay, how do we get there? Who the fuck knows? Take Loki out of the picture, make him a frost giant. Like, this is by far the most mind-boggling episode ever. And as I said, I'm not shitting on the whole episode. Like, it just doesn't make sense. But, like, there were great moments. The fight between Thor and Captain Marvel was hilarious, and I loved it. There were some moments between Jane and Thor that were great. Loki and Thor, hilarious. I loved it. However, I still go back to that stupid, like, reason why he is Party Thor. On top of that, I hated Jane in this episode. Like, her just becoming Party Jane and then sleeping over with all the Asgard. Like, really? Like, that's what we're going with? But I mean, I get it. He's a hunk, but it's like, okay, so Jane's a slut. Got it. Okay. Well,
no, she's not a slut. No, that's a disservice. That's a disservice saying that. You know what I mean?
You are correct. You are correct. I rescind my comment. You are correct. But still, like, okay, so this is how this is going. Like, she's just, partying and sleeping, and and I don't even know if she actually did. I think more it was just whatever. But like, it's still like this whole episode. Like, there were so many snickering moments, and there's so many cringy moments in this whole thing, and I'm just like, I don't understand, like, what is going on here, and it's totally out of character for Jane. In my opinion, like, not even the comic book Jane, like Thor, the movie Thor, from the movies, it's totally out of character for her. I understand her thinking a guy's cute and swooning over him, but like, they're like when she's dancing and everything, and I'm like, really? Like, really? Like, this is the route we're going. All these aliens are coming to Earth, and this is really what we're doing. Like, as I said, or what, we could have called this episode, what if the Grand Master made Earth a party planet? There's so many other ways to go about this without making it this stupid. So anyway, I can go on for probably hours, but I'm gonna stick a cork in it and let you guys go, because.
Boss man, give it to me, baby.
Well, to be honest with you, as I said, I agree a little bit with what Cheeto said. Like, what made him be this total dosser was the fact that he didn't have Loki. But the thing is that they still, even with that, would still go out and adventure and do fights and stuff like that. They go to Jotunheim and fight the frost giants and stuff like that. And maybe that fact that Loki doesn't really get brought down to earth, that he has to be on his guard with a strict brother. I kind of get that, but I mean, like, would he be this totally, out of control book world? Causes basically 100, spring breaks in one day or 2 days, however it was. It's just like, and seriously, like, I mean, because the US government comes out as a band, it's like, yeah, we don't use it to have fun. It's like, really, that's the best you could think of. It's not like he's actually doing stuff that's actually. I mean, I understand when he's like destroying like landmarks and stuff like that, but you could maybe do that from the start, where he's like destroying landmarks, and that's why people are a little bit. It's like, no, you destroyed our planet. It's like, oh shit, yeah. I mean, because the thing is that Thor is an arsehole. He understands that. The planet he has, unless it's causing a threat to him. I mean, I did like the interaction between Frost Giant Loki and Bro Thor. I thought that was cool. I did like the fact that Kat Dennings' character got married to Howard the Duck. Made it a very Vegas thing. That was funny. But saying that though, I just think that like he was just a little bit. I don't say mad, but just a little bit like just felt like he just felt out of character to Thor, because Thor he's a little bit of a bum, but he's not that much of a bum. He wouldn't just go and completely trash a palette. He'd be able to like get as many maidens as he could from Flaming Earth and just party with them, and he'd bring them up to Midgar or whatever, and just I would dance with them. That's what you do. He wouldn't just like completely like slide down the flaming Sydney Opera House or flaming turn whatever that place is in Lewis into a catapult, or flaming set.
That was the Frost Giants, by the way.
I did a abdominal thing to the flaming Stonehenge. It just felt a bit out of character to me. But that's just my.
Look, I just want to get to my initial gripe of this episode, because I fucking loved this episode. But there was one thing that bugged me considerably. Thor, in my opinion, is not worthy. Now, I have no problem with him holding Mjolnir if it wasn't enchanted. Okay, so I'm fine with that. But it seemed it was enchanted, because at one particular point, he puts Mjolnir on Danvers' chest, on Captain Marvel's chest, to pin her down on the ground. So maybe she couldn't come off the ground because she's not worthy. But in my opinion, Carol Danvers seems to be far more worthy than Thor at this particular moment in time. So it was a bit unusual, nevertheless. That was my only gripe with this episode. But I fucking love this episode. I felt What If generally really needed a turn in tone, because everything's been fucking doom and gloom with What If. And this episode didn't end on a happy note, nevertheless. But I was laughing so much. Chris Hemsworth, he absolutely killed it in this episode as well. I mean, he was doing so well. One of the best parts of this episode. It was really good to see all these different characters from the Guardians universe, from the Guardians films and from the Thor movies, all together here. And then you add a dash of Captain Marvel and Maria Hill and Romolo and fucking a tiny bit of Nick Fury and stuff. I loved it. It was fantastic. The interactions made me laugh. I had no problem with Jane Foster being smitten by Thor. Chris Hemsworth is a beautiful man, and no matter how many PhDs you got, you can fall for somebody, and that's no different with Jane Foster as well. I thought the Howard the Duck and Darcy getting married was a bit weird, but when Captain Marvel came on the scene, I loved it. I loved the interactions. I loved the fact that even Captain Marvel knew that she couldn't go full Super Saiyan on Thor because it would end up destroying the planet more than it was, and he wasn't worth that.
Yeah, but I thought that was a bit of an overreaction, though, to bring her in. It's like somebody's overpowering.
It's what Maria Hill did.
Let's bring the most powerful creature in the entire universe in.
It was Maria Hill. I mean, Maria Hill didn't know what to do. Like, Nick Fury was out of action. Yeah, and she had to make a decision. She did. There was no Avengers for her to call upon.
Yeah, because this takes place basically during the time frame of Thor 1.
Yep. no Avengers for her to call upon, and so she made a decision that how am I going to deal with all these fucking aliens on this planet, on our planet? Because you remember at one point, Coulson says, "Look, there's parties going on all over the fucking planet. There's parties here, parties there, parties fucking everywhere," and they needed to put a stop to it because even though they weren't trying to cause harm, they were causing harm, and yeah, it was just different, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. It worked for me. It was really good.
You can do that, but it has to make sense. This what if made no sense. Like, there's no reason why this is what if, like, they didn't even go. They the title doesn't even make sense. What if Thor was an only child? Like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, you could go, what if Thor was a party animal? You know, like, I mean, but the title's like, what if Thor was an only child? Okay, that's a pretty big leap to go from not having Loki to party, like, to party animal.
But maybe they try to say that, like, having Loki grounded him because he always had to be on his guard because Loki was always looking for the hustle. So, I mean, the thing is that, but the thing is, you still have to go and deal with, things in other realms. Like, from the Ice Giant realm, from the. I mean, the thing that made me laugh was when Suter started to, whatever, if that's his name, was starting to come onto the Statue of Liberty. That was quite funny. It's like, hey, what are you doing tonight?
Yeah, see, that was part of that was some of the points that I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit stupid as well. Like, what was the name of that monstrosity again?
Suter.
Yeah, because like, how the fuck is he trying to make out with an inanimate object? He should know better.
Well, and it's Surtur too. Like, they threw that in there just to try to get laughs. Like, I mean, honestly, so this photo here that you're sharing right now, this is the moment the episode went off the rails. Like, it's I that was the exact moment right there. When I saw that, I'm like, the actual fuck. Like, I don't know. I did not. I had major issues with this episode.
Release the foam.
Release the foam. Yeah. That was hilarious.
Choice Cheetah, like, I mean, it made me appreciate. I mean, because we don't really do spring break here. Well, we didn't when I was in to do now. That we did. I never had spring break, so yeah.
Well, I mean, as I said, I'm glad that there are people out there that enjoyed it, but I was not one of them. So
we have half terms, boss man, but it's a culturally different thing here. In the
UK. We do spring breaks here now.
Yeah, well, we're copying you fucking cunts across the pond too much. We've had a Black Friday.
You're copying your leaders too. Your prime minister's a carbon copy of one of our.
Yeah, like we're doing that bloody Black Friday stuff. Just I think it was just an excuse for an excuse for chat.
That is one of the worst exports you've ever sent us, by the way.
I'm glad it didn't work. By the way, Black Friday didn't work in this country. Thank God for that.
Well, no, they still do it now.
Yeah, that's something here I could never stand. Like, I'm okay with like Cyber Monday where it's like everything's online, but it's like, yeah, the whole Black Friday going out and
Taboo Tuesday.
And, yeah, that I'd rather do all my shopping online. Like,
anyway, we'll stick back to the point. So,
oh yeah, sorry.
No problem at all. It was good to see a bit more Maria Hill for once, because I've always felt that she's been given the shaft as one of the more like reoccurring characters in the Marvel MCU. So I was glad that she had a chance to shine a little bit. Good to see Darcy back again after WandaVision. I was happy to see her. She's a great character.
Darcy was fun in this episode. I like Darcy as well. That there were, as I said, there were definite bright spots in this episode. I'm not saying it was like all like shit. Like, as I said, there were definite moments where I'm like, oh, I really want to like this episode now, but
yeah, exactly. Okay, fair enough. But I think the best part about it was when Frida, is that the name? Freya had to came back to Earth to resolve stuff. Now, I don't know what it's like for kids nowadays, but if I was up to mischief and my parents found out, I'd be shitting myself. And to see Thor, having to, Earth.
Mom. Sorry.
Yeah, but this kind of reminded me of the part of the movies from the 80s, like Risky Business with Tom Cruise and stuff like that. Even I once had a house party, which I remember my house just like getting messy and the plant pots were knocked over and chairs were moved all over the place, and I'm thinking, shit, I knew I'd regret this. I knew I'd fucking regret this. And then the cleanup was massive the next day. My parents weren't still coming for another week back from their holidays, but I knew I had to do a massive fucking cleanup. And it was one of those fucking, all of this kind of reminded me of stuff like that from
it's
my
always
youth.
the thing that you don't check that gets you, isn't it? It's the thing you don't, even check that you're just like, oof, that's rough.
It's reminded me of Revenge of the Nerds a little bit, and all of those sort of frat boy comedies and stuff like that from when I was younger and stuff. So it appealed to me to a degree, but it was good to see that things were rectified. And there was a nice little moment between like Frost Giant Loki and Thor, like when Thor was telling him, "Look, we need to sort this shit out," and he goes, "You're sounding just like Odin," and that was really cool. Like for a moment, like Thor was being responsible, and just those little things, man, it just makes you appreciate it. But then eventually he goes and asks Jane Foster for a date because them two, they're pretty much linked, in the MCU or in Marvel Comics. So it's good to see that they're still continuing their relationship in an alternative universe. But then, I'm jumping right to the end right now, unless you guys want to bring other stuff up.
No.
But we see Ultron in the Vision getup, covered in Infinity Stones, which I actually thought this was going to actually end with a happy ending, but no, this is What If. We don't do happy endings, and so Ultron decides to make an appearance. He's covered in Infinity Stones, and that's how the episode ends. What do you think of that? Was definitely Ultron, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it was Ultron in Vision's body. Like the armor he has on is like an Ultron armor suit type thing with the Infinity Stones on it. Yeah.
What's that made out of? Vibranium?
I would assume vibranium, since that's what he had in Age of Ultron.
So you've got a vibranium body with a vibranium suit on. Wow. And all the Infinity Stones.
But to say, I feel like the Infinity Stones makes him more dangerous than.
Yeah, but he's pretty much impenetrable in that sense. So yeah, that was a nice way to end it. We still haven't seen Gamora, and I think she'll be next.
I think there's only 9 episodes, right? So we've got 2 episodes left. So...
I don't think when we see Gamora, I don't think it's gonna be a dedicated Gamora episode next week. I think it's going to be more the fact that the Watch is going to be trying to recruit everyone. We're going to see more like we need to get a team together sort of thing.
Which is crazy because it's like they're going to try to get Party Thor, because I've seen images of Party Thor and Dark Doctor Strange together, but it's like, why? Like he's the same. He's almost the same as regular Thor, just an idiot. Like, like more of an idiot. Like I don't.
No, Thor became responsible. Like he during the course of the Infinity Saga. Obviously,
no, I know. That's what I'm saying. This Thor, Party Thor, is an idiot, and he's just not responsible at all. So it's like, when you're scouring the multiverse for people, why would you go for Party Thor?
Right, Tito, can I ask you a question? I don't take this the wrong way, but did your parental side come out during this? Because like you're just like, no, try and behave. He's not like that, or is he just like he just wasn't in touch with the character that Because that's where I was. I was like,
did what?
Your parental side?
No. I as I said, there were moments in this episode that I thought were great. I really felt like that this Thor he's dumb for the sake of being dumb. He's Party Thor for the sake of being Party Thor. The reason he is Party Thor is just, as I said, if it was What If Thor was raised by the Grand Master, okay. I could see him being Party Thor because that's what the Grand Master does. He parties all the time. But but I mean, just with Loki not being there, now he's Party Thor. Like that, it's a possibility, but it's still, there's not much of a correlation there, and that's what irritates me about it.
Well, he didn't have that big brother responsibility, and he had more entitlement, and he was spoiled, properly spoiled.
By the way, I've got to say that I did enjoy John Hiddleston playing Loki a little bit differently. He's not the usual, I tried to trick you. He's just going, it's like, in the hizzy and all this sort of stuff. It was like, I'm not sure if I want to hear Tom Hiddleston do sort of gangster speak, but, he kind of worked on me.
Well, it would have been a good episode, like not this episode in particular, but a good what if is, what if Loki was raised by frost giants? Oh, there's a good Loki dedicated episode, and you could have Thor in it and Loki in it, and there's shenanigans. Doesn't have to be the party planet, but still, like that's what I'm saying. Like there's so many different avenues they could have gone here, and they picked this one. Like, why? You still could have had a lot of the shenanigans that you had in this episode. You just needed a catalyst that made sense.
Okay, I mean, I agree with you to some degree, yeah, because it isn't really in keeping with the Thor that we know. So even when he was a little bit reckless, he wouldn't just go to a planet and wreck it. He'd maybe just get some wenches from Earth, and maybe you kidnap them, and then you get Captain Marvel. There you go.
He just seemed like a very mischievous man-child, which is what he was. He happens to be centuries old, but
and the fact the way that Jane was acting through most of the thing just didn't
float her eyelashes at him.
Yeah,
I have no problem with that at all.
As I said, I don't mind that she finds him attractive. That's fine. I don't care. That was in the original Thor movie too, but it's just like she.
No, you got this all wrong. They thought they were going to be invaded. Yeah, and they were invaded, but not in the perspective she even could contemplate. And there
she was getting the Thor semen sons.
Oh look, but they thought they were going to be invaded. They had all this fucking data saying that this was going to happen. But then next thing you know, Thor arrives, and he's this charming, handsome man, who seems to be very friendly, and it totally got her off guard. He's well into her. And she's extremely into him. I mean, she's not thinking straight. Why? That makes perfect sense to me.
Okay. Not for me, but okay.
Yeah, I think sometimes when we see somebody who is supposedly academic. Sorry, Bossman. We see somebody who academically intelligent. We think to ourselves, okay, they can't be. They can't have their heart rule their head. Well, they can. In this case, Jane Foster did. And she partied up and she probably shagged him and all that sort of stuff on the first day. I have no problem with that at all. She's a grown adult. She can do what the fuck she wants in that sense. So yeah, party on. And I'm just totally fine with that.
Whoa, sorry, hold on, my bad. Go ahead.
Like I said, I'm totally fine with all of that. I think we tried to make this is what if this is these are alternatives. We tried to make sense of too much. Now, like I said before, there was some things that didn't make sense to me personally, like the hammer not being enchanted, or if it was enchanted, then that party Thor would definitely not be worthy.
Well, that goes back to the argument: was the hammer enchanted before Odin? Because was he able to? Because in the comic books, only Thor was able to pick up the hammer when he became worthy. In the comic books. So no, the enchantment had been around forever. Now in the MCU, people are saying, well, the enchantment, actually Odin didn't enchant the hammer until he didn't enchant the hammer until he banished him to Earth. I don't know if that's exactly the case. I feel like that the lifting enchantment had been there for a long time, and only Thor was really able to lift it.
It was nothing to do about being worthy, just about Thor being able to lift it.
I don't know. It's very convoluted, and it doesn't. And even in the comics right now, Thor is actually losing the ability to lift Mjolnir. So, but he's also King Thor right now. So,
well, here's what I think. I think that again, I kind of think that I don't want to see Captain Marvel and Thor fight because they're basically on the same side. It's like but I understand that they perceive him as a threat because he's basically brought this entire fighting island to basically cause havoc and destruction under the guise of having a party. And it's like but the thing is that But again, as I said, I mean, part of me just wishes that, like, Captain Marvel joined in a little bit on the party, just a little bit, just to see, like, I don't know if it was Brie Larson doing the voice, but like,
No, it wasn't her. But regarding she's a very intelligent person, Captain Marvel. So she realized that this person is not like a super threat, because then
But
the
James,
the
don't
one
forget,
that she
just
wants to
because
bring
somebody
out the nuclear option.
just because somebody is super smart does not mean that they are not willing to, not use their common sense. I don't remember how you worded it, but you said the exact same thing for Jane
we're
Foster.
talking no. Affairs of the heart is totally different. Yeah, and we're talking about somebody with superpowers here who was fighting against somebody else with superpowers. The context is everything here. So don't get things mixed up. You know what I mean? And like I said, Captain Marvel was brought in to stop somebody who at the time she thought was super dangerous at the time, because that's why the thing was beat. It does make sense what I'm saying regarding the two different characters. And also Captain Marvel also realized that Thor isn't a super threat, but he has to be stopped, and they tried an alternative method, which was to bring in his mum.
Yeah, but that was Jane Foster. That was
Jane Foster.
She's about to bring the fist down, and they're about to bring the nuclear option. It's like,
yeah,
dude, he's literally having a party. He's not attacking your planet. He's not flaming, endangering planet. He's not trying to throw his way to the Earth. He's literally just having a party.
Yeah,
there's level to this, dude. Be an adult about this. But it's like nuclear.
Maria Hill tried to obviously take it to the nuclear option. I love the way that Romolo did it. Got pissed off that we never go nuclear, but Maria Hill was trying to bring it to a nuclear option. But even she came to her senses once Mum came down, and that never materialized. And it was just so funny, man. Like I loved it. I loved it. This was so great, and just to see that this episode also ended with, I feel definitely a continuation. I hope that's not the last we see of Ultron. I mean,
no, that's
gonna be like probably
he's the big bad,
yeah, he's the big baddie.
Yeah.
So are we going to see like
all these what ifs like come in? Ultron yet? Like, I'm surprised they waited this long to bring him into the picture in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to get Spider in? I hope so.
I have no idea. He didn't say anything, so I figure it'd be Paul Bettany because it's in. I mean, it could be. I mean, I would like it better if it was James Spader in the Vision outfit, because we affiliate that voice with Ultron. But like, I mean, they could also just go, well, it's Vision's body, so we're gonna use Paul Bettany as Ultron.
No, the body was neither Vision's or Ultron. It was just an adamantium body, which ended up being occupied by Jarvis, who became the Vision.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So.
I mean, I hope they get Spader back in the way because he's great. But yeah,
I want James Spader back. For me, that makes perfect sense. James Spader needs to be voicing Ultron again. It'd be good to see Ultron again. I think Age of Ultron has aged very well over the years.
I've loved it since day one. By the way,
I didn't like it, but with all the additional stuff that's come after it, it has made it very good. Like the Sokovia Accords in Civil War, and obviously Captain America being able to lift the hammer, and there's other things coming out of it too. We got more understanding of Wonder as well from it too. So as well as the Vision, coming from it. So it has become a better film over the years, in my opinion. And Ultron now, it'll be good to see him come back. It'll be good to see what he could have been if he had the opportunity. And now we're going to get it in this and see how powerful he truly can be. And it's going to be interesting to see who.
The thing is, but are they going to pull from all these what if stories? Is Tony Stark even going to be Iron Man?
No, we're not going to get Tony Stark's Iron Man. We're going to get Captain Carter. We're going to get we're going to get T'Challa, Star-Lord. We're going to get, what was the third one?
Thor, Dark Doctor Strange.
Third one would be Captain Marvel, Possibly.
I don't know what they're gonna pull from. Although there is a version of Black Widow that's been seen around, but I don't know if that's the Black Widow from which I know in episode 3 she died, but I don't know if that's the Black Widow they're using or if it's like maybe Hank instead of Hank Pym killing, because we never saw Hank Pym kill her. And I get like maybe her body was never found and like the Watcher pulled her out. I don't know. That was my thought when she did not like they didn't actually show her body or anything
All
like
right. Yeah, as I said, but yeah, we're nearly at the end of the series, so we've all got 2 episodes to go, chaps. As a series, it's been all right. I mean, there's been some good episodes. There's been some very poor episodes. I told you the ones I don't like, which was 1 and 3. It was just like, let's just do those films again, just with different people. Okay.
I thought 3 was very different. You know, I thought 3 was reasonably different.
I was about to say 3 was very different. Like,
no, it was the same movie again.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
Oh God.
I don't think so. Like they got elements from the previous movies, but they never.
And that's what
they were
it
able
is.
but they never were able to continue. But they killed those guys off, very early.
And
Iron Man never. Yeah.
And you're supposed to. That's what if is. They're supposed to take certain events and put a twist on it, and then it makes it a little bit different and plays out a little bit differently.
Yeah. Sometimes it could be totally different, and other times it could be just a bit different. Yeah, I mean,
like Party Thor being completely different.
Like T'Challa Star-Lord, I mean, it was totally different.
Even though I hated it, the zombie one, it was totally different. I mean, I hate zombies, but
that had been following a particular trend since
Marvel Zombies.
That was the beginning of Infinity War, but they all became zombies after that. So, and it's good to see like Tony Stark has died 3 times in this show. 3 times. He died in episode 3, he died in episode 5, and he died in episode 6. It's absolutely crazy. So I hope he doesn't come back as Iron Man, because he's been dead so many fucking times. It would make no sense.
Yeah, as I said, like, I've got what's, as I said, with this particular episode, I think it's fine. It was fine. It's just, I just think it was a bit pointless. There you go. That's what I think.
Okay.
It was chuffer.
Don't give it a rating out of 10.
6.
Gia?
I'm gonna give it a 4 just because I hate like the premise. I'm gonna give it a 5 just because there were some great moments in this episode. I could never get past the point that none of it made sense. Like the variation point made no sense, and the theme made no sense, and the name of the episode made no sense. Besides the fact that Loki was a frost giant instead of himself. I mean, as I said, it just there was a bunch of overlining things in there that were wrong. And Jane Foster and Thor. Yeah, I never liked that couple anyway. I
think what it is as well regarding Thor is that when it came to the developers, they probably found it very difficult to change Thor. Like, I mean, what can we do with Thor that would make a good what if episode that could be different to what he is now? And if you think about it, it's not that straightforward. So I think
Thor's already had many changes as is. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, he's gone through a whole massive character arc and then some during the course of the Infinity Saga. So what can we do that's going to be a bit different? And this is, I think, maybe as good as they can come up with, without it being too dark as well at the same time. But they wanted to go for a lighter tone. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. It entertained me thoroughly. I like little things made me laugh as well, like when Thor was waking up and then he said, "Oh, look, there's a cute rabbit," obviously mentioning, Rocket Raccoon, who we never got anything from. And it's good to see like Rocket Raccoon. We saw Mantis, we saw Drax, we saw Nebula, we saw the Grand Master and that lady who follows him everywhere. We saw those golden people. What were they called?
I don't remember, honestly.
The ones who created
the one who going to do Adam Strange next. I can't remember what they were called. The guys that they ripped off in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, it's good to see like Loki in his natural form, because that's what he would have been if Odin didn't fucking kidnap him as a baby. So all of these things make me very happy. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode, and I look forward to seeing more Party 4 and possibly some sort of redemption arc. Well, not maybe redemption arc, but some sort of arc of him putting away his childish ways.
See,
And
I have no interest in seeing more of Party Thor. He's so cringy to me. He's so cringy. It just makes me not want to see him ever again. He's not that different from regular Thor. Like,
I just feel like he's more irresponsible, and I have no problem with that. You know, like when you're the big brother, you have a natural responsibility that comes with being a big brother, and he doesn't have that, being the only child. So yeah. Nevertheless, let's want to wrap this up.
Yeah, please. Because again, I think we've all said what we have to say about this.
Fantastic. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to be doing Lower Decks. Is that correct?
Yeah. We're going to be doing it. We're going to be doing it a little bit earlier too, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah, for sure. So keep an eye out for that, as well as Titans and Dark Side of the Ring by the end of this week. So
and also, hopefully, we'll get a review of Visions out.
Yes, of course. Yes, totally forgot about that too. I just finished watching that. I binged the whole fucking show. Star Wars Visions. Some good, some not so good, but it is an alternative take. Not everything's going to hit the mark, but I do feel that some shows that I didn't like will be more appreciated by others, and some shows I did like would be not appreciated by others. Personally, when you watch all 9 episodes, keep an eye out for episode 5. That was my personal favorite. I thought that was excellent. But by the time
me and Cheetah are going to do a debate on Johnny Depp. We've decided that recently.
Johnny Depp, fucking Don Cheadle, you guys get that shit going at one particular point. That'd be great. But regarding this week, what we have is obviously Lower Decks, Titans, Dark Side of the Ring, and Star Wars Visions. So keep an eye out for all of that. Thank you very much, Captain Party Pooper.
All right.
Thank you very much, Cousin Cheeto. And thank you very much, NerdTube Universe. Don't forget to subscribe to NerdTube. We are the greatest YouTube channel you never fucking heard of. And we'll see you cunts later. Bye-bye.
Bye.